This news update is brought to you by
Grab somebody and tell them hello. Your happiness will be connect to flow. Smile and cheer because that is we flow. Grab somebody and tell them hello. With your hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air, hands in the air. This is how we flow, yeah. Grab somebody and tell them this is how we flow.
It's Wednesday, September the 16th, 2015, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. Now the details of the news. While acknowledging that lawyers for Jamaican Shanique Myrie have not yet been paid by the Barbados government, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite yesterday afternoon said that the real story was not being told. The Jamaica Observer reported Sunday that the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, has still not managed to secure payment for lawyers who represented Myrie in the notable case almost 2 years after its historic judgment. Myrie was herself paid damages of $76,000 Barbados dollars 8 months after the decision of the CCJ, which found that the Jamaican woman was unlawfully treated on arrival at Grantley Adams International Airport in March 2011. The paper also reported that the government of Barbados remained unmoved and there was no indication as to when payment in part or full would be made to the attorneys. But the Barbados Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs insisted that the truth needed to be told as to why the lawyers have not been paid as ordered by the regional court.
Myrie's lawyers submitted a claim to us. Right? We asked for further particulars, I think since August last year, for what I'm told. We have not heard anything from Myrie's lawyers since then. So if they have gone to the press in Jamaica and say that they have not been paid, then it would have made more sense for them to contact the Attorney General of Barbados and try to see how we can reach an agreement on their fees. They have not contacted us since August last year. And I do not believe that it is our responsibility to chase them, for their fees.
An official source told Barbados Today that the lawyers for Myrie have asked the Frontier Stewart administration to pay them US $1 million in legal fees, a figure which has not yet been settled between the two sides. Myrie had complained of being subjected to dehumanizing cavity search by a female immigration officer at the airport, and that she was locked up overnight in a filthy room and sent back to Jamaica the following day. The country's two most senior judicial and legal officials, Chief Justice Sir Marston Gibson and Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite, have filed a last-minute application in the High Court to prevent a civil suit against them from being heard. The notice, which was lodged in the Supreme Court Registry yesterday by Attorney-at-Law in the Attorney General's Chambers, Donna Brathwaite QC, came on the eve of the start of hearing in the civil suit filed several months ago by Queen's Counsel Vernon Smith, who is accusing the Chief Justice of denying him the right to work. The Attorney General has also been named in the lawsuit, which arose out of the Chief Justice's decision to prevent Smith from practicing law in Barbadian courts because he had not paid his annual subscription to the Barbados Bar Association. The lawyer claimed that Sir Marston effectively disbarred him without due process after Smith was prevented from acting on behalf of Brantley Consulting Incorporated on April the 14th, a company owned by former Clico executive Leroy Paris. Smith is also seeking damages and is demanding that the Chief Justice gives his reasons in writing for refusing to hear him when he tried to represent his client. But Donna Brathwaite is urging the court to strike out the claim and award the defendant's costs in any event. In outlining the grounds on which her clients are relying, she gave 3 reasons for stating that the case filed by Smith on May 14, 2015 was an abuse of process of the court. Brathwaite submitted that an appeal against a decision or ruling made by a judge of the High Court ought to be made to the Court of Appeal, that the claimant has failed to show on what law or rules of the Supreme Court his claim is grounded. and that the Chief Justice is not a proper party to the proceedings. Smith was served with legal papers yesterday notifying him that the application to strike out his case was set to be heard on January 27, 2016, starting at 9:30 a.m. Smith is represented by Queen's Counsel Edmund King and Hal Gollop. Asked if his client's case will now be put on hold until his new matter was determined, Gollop said he would wait for the judge's decision today. Employees at the Central Bank of Barbados are back off the job again after a brief return to work yesterday. The resumption of work was just for a few brief moments as General Secretary of the Barbados Workers' Union, Tony Moore, pulled her troops away from their pens and papers after talks between the bank management and the union broke down during the morning yesterday. Employees have been off the job since Friday in protest over the promotion of an intern from a $2,500 job to a $4,000 job, an amount which makes him better paid than appointed colleagues senior to him.
Meeting didn't get far. The union was able to present its case, but soon after that it became clear that the chief spokesperson for the bank was not fully briefed on the issue, a situation which certainly caused some upset to the union delegation because this is not a matter that has been under the bank's purview only this morning. It's a matter that they ought to have been given attention to since last Wednesday, at least when it was first raised by the local union committee of the Barbados Workers' Union. The workers, we had asked the workers as a sign of good faith to go back into work, taking up their stations, taking up their various responsibilities while the union and the bank met. But given this situation which has presented itself where the bank clearly is not serious about having this matter resolved in the soonest possible time, the Barbados Workers' Union was left with no other choice but to ask the workers to resume their posts on the outside as opposed to being at their respective workstations.
In sports now, Chris Gayle, Kyron Pollard, and Dwayne Bravo are some of the prominent players who will feature in the inaugural Pakistan Super League T20 tournament to be held in Doha in February 2016. The agency that manages Gayle confirmed that he has signed the pre-draft agreement on Monday. Darren Sami and Sunan Narain will also be part of the PSL draft pool. It's understood that the Pakistan Cricket Board, owners of the PSL, are seeking at least 25 overseas players for the tournament. The first edition of the PSL will feature 5 franchise-based teams from provincial capitals with prize money of $1 million.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter, that's the move for me. Stability, prosperity, we're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Welcome back with news from the region now. LIAT's Chief Executive Officer David Evans says 160 people will part ways with the airline through voluntary separation, natural attrition, and other means. Evans says while the airline goes through a major restructuring and staff reduction program from which it will emerge as a smaller and leaner company, negotiations with the trade unions are progressing well.
There's been a very good awareness amongst our trade union partners that if we're going to be an airline that's some 30% smaller than it's been historically, we simply can't carry the costs of an airline that size. So the discussions have been fruitful. We're probably about a third of the way through our program in terms of what we've achieved.
On the international scene in the U.S. state of California, more than 20,000 people have been forced to flee their homes by wildfires, which have been burning out of control. In one blaze alone in Lake County, at least one person has died and nearly 2,500 firefighters are tackling the flames.
In California, this is the sound of summer. They call it the Valley Fire, and no one here can remember anything like it. It has already consumed an area twice the size of San Francisco, and still it burns. The fire leaves behind a landscape drained of colour, silent, lifeless. No one knows for sure how many homes have been destroyed. The latest count is nearly 600, with 9,000 properties still at risk.
We were standing right there, back of the house, and it was rolling down the canyon right here, and we just had to get the hell out of here.
For Greg Conley, there was no choice but to flee, leaving behind his beloved ranch, Blossom Springs. It had stood here for 130 years, but it was gone in minutes.
And that's where we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper and email updates, or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.